On this day, a ghost walked into Abbey Road Studios. He was bald, overweight, silently brushing his teeth, and nearly unrecognizable. The band didn't realize who he was until it hit them like a brick wall. It was Syd Barrett, the founding genius of Pink Floyd. And at that very moment, they were recording a song about him for new album, Wish You Were Here.
They wanted the ferocity which Roger gives on other tracks. At the time, he just felt that he hadn't got it.
That song was Shine On You Crazy Diamond.
There was this guy standing there in a gabardine raincoat, a large bloke. And then we were all unbelievably shocked at his appearance.
This is the true story behind one of the most haunting songs in rock history. A song that's not just about loss, but about losing someone who's still breathing.
Ebullient, talented friend, and I miss him.
This is a journey into memory, madness, and music, into a band torn by success and a friendship haunted by absence. By 1974, Pink Floyd had conquered the world. The Dark Side of the Moon wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural moment. 45 million albums sold, 741 weeks on the Billboard charts, sold-out tours. Critics praised it, fans worshipped it. But inside the band, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. Success didn't bring unity, it brought silence. Each member retreated into their own world.
We do have infighting. But you mean without actually exploding?
Roger Waters, the band's bassist and increasingly dominant creative force, felt the disconnect deeply. He wasn't just tired of touring, he was disillusioned with fame, with the industry, with the very machine that was pushing Pink Floyd to greater heights.
People are prepared to accept that simple exhortation, to be prepared to stand your ground and attempt to live your life in an authentic way.
That disillusionment became the spark for their next album, an album that would look inward and backward, toward someone they had lost. The seed of the song was planted during a warm-up jam. David Gilmour began playing a slow, reflective chord progression on his acoustic guitar.
My guitar style and Syd's guitar style were not even close.
Roger Waters stopped. That melody, it sounded like a question, a longing. Waters sat down and began to write. Words poured out, not just about Syd, but about everyone and everything they'd lost. They were writing in code. Emotional code. Did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage?
All the way through the making of it, we thought we were onto something that was going to do a bit better than anything we had previously done.
It's about compromise, about losing the spark, about how easy it is to trade your passion for something shinier, emptier.
When that came together with the record cover and everything at the end, we were all pretty excited.
It was about Barrett, yes. But it was about all of them. About fame, art, humanity. The song became a center of gravity for the new album, and so did its sister track, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, both orbiting around the memory of Syd. But nobody expected what would happen next.
Dave wanted a big sound, so the guitar was recorded in a different studio.
June 5th, 1975. The band was deep into mixing Shine On You Crazy Diamond at Abbey Road. It was a tribute, a farewell, a confession.
He put his amplifiers and speakers down in Studio 1, being a classical music studio, and then mic'd it from a distance. I think it comes across on the album.
And then, the past walked through the door, a large, bald man with no eyebrows, stood in the hallway, brushing his teeth. Nobody recognized him. Not at first. Then someone said, "That's Syd."
Yeah, someone I haven't seen for sort of 25 years. It's very hard to make a judgment on what he thinks about anything.
They were stunned. He had changed completely, physically and mentally. He didn't understand the song was about him. He said he'd come to help with the album, offered to do guitar overdubs. They didn't know what to say. Roger Waters, upon realizing it was him, left the room and cried. This was no romanticized reunion. This was raw, painful.
I think the first time I met Syd was at a Saturday morning art class that we both attended at.
Syd stayed for about 45 minutes. Then he disappeared. Just as suddenly as he'd arrived. That moment would hang over the rest of the recording sessions like a spectre. They weren't just mourning a friend. They were witnessing the ghost of the person they once knew. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl. So simple.
We just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year.
But loaded with meaning. It wasn't just about Syd's detachment from reality. It was about Waters and Gilmour, about being stuck in a loop, repeating the same songs, the same tours, the same interviews, disconnected from themselves. Every line in the song is double-sided. Did you get you to trade your heroes for ghosts? On the surface, a reference to Barrett. On a deeper level, a question to themselves, to the audience, to everyone who's ever given up on a dream. That's the beauty of it. The song doesn't lecture, it mourns, it aches, and that's why it resonates. Because it's not just about a rock star gone mad. It's about all of us, about memory, regret, and the ever-haunting question, what if? Since its release in 1975, Wish You Were Here has become one of the most beloved songs in rock history. It's more than a track. It's a ritual, a moment of silence, a shared experience of longing. It's played at funerals, at weddings, on lonely nights when the world feels too far away. For Pink Floyd, it marked a turning point. The album it anchored would go on to sell over 13 million copies. But for the band, it was something else, a goodbye letter. A way to say what they couldn't when Syd stood in front of them that day.
Syd Barrett, one of the founding members of Pink Floyd, has died at the age of 60. A statement from the band described him as a guiding light who leaves a legacy which continues to inspire. He left the Pink Floyd in 1968 and lived as a recluse in Cambridge for 3 decades.
Syd Barrett passed away in 2006, but his presence never really left. His shadow lingers in every note, every lyric, every silent moment in Wish You Were Here. He may have disappeared from their lives, but in that song, he's always there, just beyond the veil.